two major victories. One victory, if you read the paper today, you found out that the public hearing, they're going to have a second public hearing, which has never been done. In 2 weeks period, in 2 weeks time, there will be another public hearing. As I said, we had 1,500 plus people at that public hearing. We want to have 3,000 people at this next public hearing. So those of you who came on Tuesday night, please, please, please come again for the next public hearing. There is going to be another public hearing. The second victory that was scored, and we believe we got this from a reliable source, the state came into Muhlenberg Hospital 6:30 this morning and demanded that they stop moving equipment out of Muhlenberg Hospital. And they demanded that they put back everything that has been taken. So we are thankful that somebody is listening. We are thankful that God is on the move. He is turning this thing around. And those of you who know the words and worth of prayer, I'm saying to you, continue, continue, continue to pray. We're going to hold on to God's unchanging hand because we know that He can do all things. The only thing He can't do is fail and lie. So we've got our hands in His hands. And as far as I'm concerned, God has already said this hospital will not close.
Amen. And I'll tell you this right here. Again, this is Reverend Zechariah A. Jackson from Town Talker, presiding chapter of Church of What's Happening Now. I couldn't be with you guys down in Trenton, but I was there in spirit. You know, prayer come up. We prayed early today at the job about the hospital and everything. So, you know, it was just good to hear your report and that the state did come in this morning and stop the removal of the equipment and to bring equipment back. I want to go to Kiana, I believe it is, and she was at the public hearing. She's from the next town. If you want to introduce the next town and introduce yourself to the public and just tell us what you thought about the hearing and everything.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, family. My name is Kiana Miller, and I'm actually a resident of North Plainfield. However, I'm still family to Plainfield.
Without a doubt.
And I just want to say that I was super impressed and encouraged by the hearing on Tuesday, because I met so many people who were so discouraged about it. They thought the decision's already made, they're closing the hospital. But if you were out there on Tuesday, it was something else, the energy in that room. And I never witnessed so many people of so many different races in a social event get together, hold hands, and pray.
Yes.
And I said, you know, this is a different kind of a thing, and this is a real fight, and I think we're going to win.
I know we will.
We're going to win.
I know we will. We've already won.
We have to, keep battling. And, you know, a lot of folks don't want to give the praise or give the kudos to where it go. And I remember Dr. King saying years ago that, you know, we have to teach beyond the stained glass windows. And what you saw the other night is what we see when we out there. We see a church. You understand? Because we beyond the stained glass windows. Because we know at any minute that even in the marching, one of us can fall down and need medical attention. And if we have to go 20 miles this way or 10 miles that way, when we got a hospital right here in dead center, Plainfield. That service, north, south, what's the town up here? Scotch Plains, Fanwood, parts of Edison. I mean, your Piscataway. You know, it would be a shame to let this go. We're gonna, you know, keep on
13
fighting.
13 towns in total.
13 towns.
So we're going to keep fighting, and I just encourage everybody out there, young, old, whoever you may be, educated, uneducated, to come out. One of my favorite quotes is by Margaret Mead, and it says, "Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So no matter who you are, if you can only pass out flyers, you can come out and support the cause. We're in this for everyone.
And I back up what you say, what my mother used to say years ago. If a baby rocked the world by the cradle, what will the baby do when he or she grow up? Now let us go to Reverend Branch. You seem to be...
Well, you know, Pastor, Tuesday, one of the things that I wanted to ask is this. How many people on that panel was from this area? None. Secondly, my question was, they were sitting up there and they were looking quite pious on their derrieres, but if they stood up and in the process of leaving, one of them killed over and had a heart attack right there on the table on that on the stage, where would they have taken? They emergency would have came and they would have rushed them right over to Muhlenberg Hospital for the first step emergency stabilization care.
Without a doubt, yes.
And that's what they need to understand. See, part of the problem is this. People don't really realize what the situation is until it hits home themselves. Throughout the communities, they have been closing down hospitals in the poor and the urban communities. But it's just like, to me, it reminds me of the drug problem. As long as the drug problem was in the urban communities, it was a problem. But when it came to the more affluent communities, then it became an epidemic. And they're starting to close these hospitals down, 5 hospitals in the last 2 years in the urban communities. But if it continues, it's going to happen. It's going to spread to the more affluent communities sooner or later. And then that's when it's going to become a problem. Let's not let it wait until it gets to that point. Let's stop it now.
You know, Reverend Branch, the thing is that people are so quick to say, not in my community.
Right.
Well, if you in America, California is your community.
Your community, that's right.
You know, I mean, it's foolish to think that if you suffer over here, eventually it's not going to come over to me. It's just a foolish statement. And, you know, we have so many people that God has given us a will to learn. When I'm out here and I'm challenged by those that's maybe a little bit more academically stable than I am, and I say, learning is learned behavior.
That's right.
See?
That's right.
So because you journey before me or journey before us, don't mean we're not going to get it.
Get there.
There's not kings and queens in America. There's learned people. We evolve into everything as we today are evolved into the iPod. 40 years ago we had the 8-track tape, and then they evolved us into the cassette, right? And the vinyl, and now
the DVD.
The DVD. And so we are evolving culture of people no matter where you from. So we don't have to play that little nitpick game that people play. We got a person to fight, and that's definitely not each other. Let's go after Pharaoh and bring him down.
In the words of Martin Luther King, an injustice for one is an injustice for all. And this is economic segregation of basic health care needs. They're taking it out of the poor communities and putting it in the more affluent white communities. I mean, let's call it what it is.
Without a doubt. And Frederick Douglass said that if I'm a slave, then you a slave because you got to watch me be a slave. So,
Well,
so you evolve into that.
I've given it a name. And the name that I've given it is systemic, medical, racial profiling. That's the name I've given
Well,
it.
let's church say amen.
Amen.
Because if you look at the neighborhoods in which the hospitals have been closed, they've been predominantly African American, Latino populated areas. And so that it just seems mighty strange that this is where you're closing the hospitals. And just to back up a little bit, I want to say thank you to South Plainfield. We got word from South Plainfield today in the form of a Mr. White who came out to be with us in Trenton on the day. And he let us know that in South Plainfield, the mayor, the city council, as well as the Board of Education of South Plainfield have passed unanimously resolutions that they will stand with Plainfield against the closing of Muhlenberg Hospital. These resolutions, one resolution was passed on last night at the Board of Education meeting in South Plainfield. The City Council has already passed their resolution, and the Mayor has already unequivocally stated that South Plainfield, is going to stand with us in this fight because they realize that the fight is not about